Welcome to Trading in the Trenches. I'm thrilled to have you here today. In this video, we're diving deep into some exciting topics, including upcoming news that could shake up the markets, stocks I'm currently eyeing, and insights from my Reddit community and trading journal. Plus, I'll be sharing a unique challenge where I take 10 ideas from my followers, and I want to extend this to my YouTube subscribers as well. Stay tuned as we explore promising stock setup, discuss a missed opportunity with MP, and highlight some key zones from my watch list. All right, let's jump in, guys. So, first thing I want to go over is just some news and things to be aware of. All right, so this website is forexfactory.com. Okay, I use this site to see any upcoming news in the market. So one of the things I wanted to highlight here is this is August 11th, so Monday, and there's no real news. Okay, the impact is color coded, so when you have yellow folders, the news is light or moderate, mild. Orange folders would be moderate, and red would be heavy news. Okay, so Monday, we don't have anything really going on. Tuesday, however, 8:30, right before the markets open, we got the CPI numbers coming out. Okay. Wednesday is a light day, but we do have FOMC members speaking. Wednesday we have PPI numbers and unemployment numbers, again, right before the market opens. Just something to be aware of. And Friday, there's market news as well. So retail sales, manufacturing index, consumer sentiment, inflation expectations. So these things, because they are red folders, have a high probability of bringing volatility into the markets. Okay, and along with that, I just want to show you guys, statistically speaking, the best and worst performing months for the stock market. All right, this goes back almost 100 years. Okay, so best gains or biggest gains for investors: July, April, December, January. Right, we just got out of July. It was a great month. If you guys have been following my last few weeks of posts, then you'll see that we've had some really great winners. Okay, statistically, these are the worst performing months. So we have September, February, May. Okay, September is coming up. Just something to be aware of here. All right, this is another website, Wall Street Zen. The first one was Motley Fool. Best and worst months for the stock market, right? So best months, great. What I'm more interested in is the worst months: September and August. Okay, we're in August now. September's coming right up. Just things to be aware of. And here's the last site I was using, Trade That Swing. They're taking 20-year averages. All right, weak months: August, September, September, September. All right, worst months for the New York Stock Exchange: August, September. S&P 500, September. And the NASDAQ, September. So we are in an interesting place currently in terms of news and what the trend is, historically speaking. All right. These are the stocks that I'm interested in. I want to set up some of these zones. All right, we got a big list this week. Before I get into the actual stocks, I want to go over the indexes. So QQQ, S&P 500, the Russell, and the Dow, because we got some interesting things here happening. So this is today's close. All right, this was today's candle, Friday. All right, you see it down here, August 8th. All right, so we made a new high, 574.77 from 574.63. But one thing that I find interesting is this candle's close is 574.55, which is just underneath where this high was made, this previous high. So this zone here is going to act as resistance. Okay. So this is on the Qs. For the SPY, it didn't get up to its previous high, all-time high. But again, just here underneath the zone, this area is just here acting as resistance. All right, here on the IWM or the Russell Index, the price is not even trending up here near the highs. It's actually below its 618. This is a 61.8 resistance, and IWM is just being rejected by it. Right, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row. Can't get over it. And lastly, the Dow, similar to IWM, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days underneath the 61.8 retracement level. This is a very strong resistance level. It provides strong resistance and strong support. I've heard it that the Dow and the IWM are leading the markets, so meaning that the SPY and QQQ are slightly behind. And so the fact that these things were up here and then dipped and could not get back over this resistance is just something interesting to keep in mind. All right, let's look at some of these names. Okay. So I always like to start with the monthly charts. This is Apple. Apple's having a great month so far, right? Just want to basically eye that the charts are not above this 3 ATR level. So it looks good on the monthly, looks good on the weekly. The daily, it's up here a little bit extended, so it's not bad because it has room on the weekly and the monthly. Definitely would like to wait for a pullback in Apple for any entry opportunities. So I will set an alert maybe for right down here around 220 or so. Basically this area where Apple took off from today, to see if next week we don't get some sort of pullback for some buying opportunities. Next stock here is AI. The monthly has plenty of space. The weekly has plenty of space. The daily has plenty of space. Currently this is on a downtrend. I determined that by my moving averages crossing to the downside. That's light blue moving average is 21 EMA, dark blue is 34 EMA. So the fact that these have crossed going downward, and we have earnings on Wednesday the 27th. So I'm not really interested in this chart. I like to look for long opportunities until the indexes are in this downtrend, right? So we saw, right, everything's pretty sky high in terms of moving averages for the indexes. So that's what I want to look for, stocks that are basically lining up with that. So this monthly on Axon is highly extended. The weekly has a little bit of space, and the daily is also extended. They reported earnings. They did really well on their earnings. 45%, they beat it, and revenue is up by 4%. So that's awesome. But however, this chart is pretty extended on all time frames, the higher time frames, right? Daily, weekly, monthly. So I'm just gonna skip it. We got SLS here. So this thing has been down here. I didn't even notice the price of this stock. Let's see. They have earnings Monday. Okay, so there's not really much to do with this, being that they're about to report earnings on Monday. If I wanted to get involved in this, it would be after they report earnings on Monday, depending on what happens with price action. However, I'm not too interested in trading a $1 stock. All right, this is ALAB or ALB. So The monthly chart doesn't even have the indications yet. This is a brand new stock. Looks like it's became public in March of 2024. Let's see the weekly, fully extended here. How did they do on their earnings? They had earnings on the 5th. This was this Tuesday. They did really well. Clearly, right? The stock is up here, fully extended. Because the stock is already up here and extended, I'm going to pass. We have ANET, ANET. Okay, the monthly, it's got a little bit of space. The weekly is right there against the 3 ATR, and the daily is over 3 ATR. So I'm going to skip this. We have boot. All right, the monthly has space, the weekly has space, and the daily, not only does it have space, they beat earnings, and we got red dots, right? The chart is squeezing, meaning momentum is building and it's in the buy zone. So I like boot. CBRE, it's got some space on the monthly, not too much room on the weekly, and not much room on the daily, but there is some room. Let's see, they beat their earnings. That's a potential trade there. Okay, CG's got some space. Little bit of space on the weekly as well. A little bit of space on the daily. They beat earnings and it's squeezing. I like that. Okay, so the monthly has a tiny bit of space. The weekly is right here brushed up against 3 ATR, and the daily is as well. They did beat earnings, which is awesome. I'd like to see this pull back a little bit. So I'm going to set an alert right towards the bottom of this zone, 321 and 51 cents. Ideally, if this thing pulls back a little, there might be a setup here on a lower time frame. So I'm going to just delete that. I'm going to delete Apple as well. I set an alert, but I won't be able to get involved until the alert goes off. So EVR is a name I set up last week. Same thing, right? Monthly looks good. Weekly's got some space, and the daily's got some space as well. So the daily has space, price is squeezing. This support zone seems to be holding up, and price is right at the buy zone. So that's a nice one. Let's see, ETR. Monthly's got some space, about $4. Weekly, same thing. Daily, not too much, but a little bit. They beat earnings, not bad. So this one, IBKR, right up there on the monthly. Not too much room on the weekly. And not too much room on the daily. This thing's pretty extended. I'm just going to pass. This one has space on the monthly. The weekly's been fully extended. And the daily is pretty extended as well, so I'm going to skip on this one. I like to just basically be as selective as possible, because there's so many opportunities in these markets that there's no need to force any setups or trades. So the monthly has space, weekly's got a little bit of space, and the daily has a little bit of room to run. They beat earnings. So some of these, there was a few of them like this, right, where they have a little bit of space up here. Could provide nice little day trades, or short like overnight trades for the following week. So I'll leave it up there. We can take a look at that. So Meta is just Meta, right? It still has some space here on the monthly, on the weekly, and on the daily, following that same pattern. They had great price action pop on their earnings report. Let me just see real quick. Overnight 12% gain, $89 move higher. That was amazing. I like the fact that this thing is basically found support there, so we're going to keep that there. Monthly has space, weekly has space, and the daily has space. Not only does it have space, the price is not too far from the buy zone. I want to set an alert here, and the chart is squeezing, so this one I really like this pattern, this shape. It's essentially what I'm looking for all my setups, right? Something that's trending higher, going from the bottom left to the top right, that has then started consolidating. That price is in my buy zone, so I want to see the price between 21 and 34. It could also be underneath it, and I want to see these dots red or orange. I want to see the price squeezing, building momentum, getting ready for a next move. You see here previously, dots are orange. Once they turn green, or rather price starts to move and then they turn green, and you get a full move out of this consolidation zone. So that's essentially what my trading strategy is all about. All right, let's check out Microsoft. So Microsoft, monster, right up here, 3 ATR on the monthly, on the weekly, and on the daily, we've had a little pullback. This could have a little intraday setup, possible day trade. We'll look into the smaller time frames for that one. Why not? I'm more inclined to look at the smaller time frames for charts that have a little bit of space when they're part of the Mag 7 because of all the volume that gets traded into these. So this one has been doing incredibly well. What did they do on their earnings? Yeah, they had amazing earnings. Revenue's up. Unfortunately, this thing is super extended. So Reddit, it's also one of these new stocks. It's only been out since March 2024. Excuse me. So the monthly doesn't have any data. The weekly is right up there at 3 ATR, and the daily is over 3 ATR. I do like Reddit to test these all-time highs here. I think a possible trade could develop, but that's gonna take, I think, some time of this to come kind of pull back down a little bit. I'm gonna set an alert here around 192. See if this thing can't come down to what seems like is alright, this was a resistance here, and then it was support. I'd like to see this kind of come back down into this area to get ready to push up to take out those all-time highs. So I got the alert set. I'm going to take it off the watch list. This monthly chart's got some space. This thing's about to, did it make the all-time high? 76.20, 76.07, 76.38. No, it did not. So the all-time highs right here. Price did not make any all-time high, and it's just beneath the zone. Got really close to doing it twice, and now we're getting some support building here. Let's see how they did on their earnings. They did fine. Yeah, I like this. I'd like to get a pullback right here underneath 71. If I get that alert, then I'll look for some opportunities. Seems like a lot of these names are right up here near all-time highs. Oh, extended on the weekly. And the daily's got a little bit of space. They met exactly their expectations, which is interesting. I've actually never seen this before. So they reported earnings, and they reported exactly how they were estimated to do, which is just funny, I guess. Uh, we'll leave that. See if we find something for a smaller time frame setup. Whew. SANM fully extended on the monthly, extended on the weekly, and basically extended on the daily. They did great on their earnings. Um, so yeah, this red line again is 3 ATR, which just means that the price is at 3 times its expected move. And for me, in my experience, that's typically when stocks tend to pull back. As you can see here, price can continue to ride up, right? Doesn't necessarily have to pull back, but when it does pull back, that tends to be the outcome, right? 3 ATR comes down, 3 ATR comes down. So I'm just gonna skip this. And the last one, SNPS. Monthly's got plenty of space. Weekly it's got some space. It's pretty close up there, but it's got some space. And the daily's got some space as well. They have earnings Tuesday, September 9th. So that one could be interesting. All right. So we got the list down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 names. Okay. This is awesome. We'll come back and set up a play for this upcoming week. I just want to go over what I got going on here on Reddit, my community that I've been building. So I come on Reddit and I engage with different trading communities, trading, day trading, Rebo, right? And essentially what I do is I just answer people's questions, right? A lot of new traders, beginners, they post questions, they ask for, insight, what's possible, and I just answer questions wherever I can, trying to guide beginner traders as best as I can. I've been posting trades on here. I've been posting. My goal is to post 100 trades. I've posted 68. I'm posting exactly, basically, after I take a position and after I exit a position. All right. So far, we have 43 winners, 25 losers. I got one trade open, CAVA or Kava. Biggest win, 465%, 1,400% winners. So the idea for me was to just post 100 trades to kind of establish my track record here so that folks can get an idea of, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. Just in order to kind of just help people with the basics of trading, all right? So, just posting my setups, posting the reasons why, right? Posting charts that I'm trading, and as I enter and exit, showing the profits and the reasoning, And so this goes back 5 months. There's a lot of trade history. If you guys keep hearing that alert, it is my crypto alert. We are in a bull market for cryptocurrencies, and everything is basically on the up and up. So if you guys are interested, feel free to check out my Reddit. All right, I'll be posting 32 more trades, and then when I'm done posting these trades, I will no longer post trades on Reddit. I'm just going to specifically post in my trading journal, which is here. It was brought to my attention today that this, I suppose, could look scammy, the link, right, to this group. But this is my group. This is live. It's free to join. Same thing. Been posting my trades here. I've been more focused on Reddit, being that's where I want to first establish my credibility. I post the trades. I got some information here where you can learn, trading definitions, my favorite books. Why do I enter or how I enter and exit positions. I post the videos as I make them here. So you have access to my videos here. Same videos that are on my YouTube. Feel free if you want to follow along my journey to join. Again, it's free. The website is GoCollab/options trading. So that's it right there. www.gocollab.com/options-trading. All right, you click on it. That's what it'll be. Again, once I'm done posting my 100th trade on Reddit, that's where I'll be posting the rest of my trades. All right, let us set up one of these stocks. Let's see, which one am I most interested in? This is a really nice pattern. Morgan Stanley. EVR looks pretty decent. Yeah. I guess I'll look at Boot and I'll look at Morgan Stanley. I'll look at Boot because Boot is literally in the buy zone. And I'll look at Morgan Stanley because I just really like the way this chart looks. All right, so let's do Boot first. So Boot's in the buy zone. Let me see this monthly chart. Yeah, we're at all-time highs. Okay. There's not really much to do except look at options. So let's do that. Let's see what Boot's got. So this is daily chart, right? D for daily, 1 day, which means that each candle represents 1 day's price action. Okay. So again, the chart is trending, right? Bottom left, top right. Price is in my buy zone, and I have squeezes, and they beat earnings. So there's a lot of good happening here. I don't like that they only have monthly options, but that's okay because this is a daily chart, so we're gonna need some time. So I'm gonna look at this September series. I'm not thrilled about these options. The bid and ask spread is, a little bit wide. These 175s may be the best, right? 50-cent spread, 50-cent spread, these 180s. I don't want to go too far out of the money. And then, a premium like this is not too accessible for everybody. Probably go with these 175s. Let's see what the potential targets are for Boot. So the way I find my potential targets, or rather define my risk, okay? So again, I said the price was in the buy zone, which just means that price is between the 21 and 34 EMA. Okay, so my buy zone here would be 169.40 to 163.75. Okay, so we got 163.75 to 169.40. Let's make this a little bit bigger. All right, that's the buy zone. And what that means for me is that this is essentially my risk. So I would stop out underneath 163. Okay, stop loss 163. And then I find my take profits. I use the Fibonacci retracement tool. I'm going to use the highest point here, the swing high, the all-time high, right, 183.60, and I'm going to drag this down to the bottom end of this wick here. Okay. So what this shows me is that, let me extend these lines to the left. It's basically my zones. For me personally, I like to highlight the 38.2, the 618, and then my take profits: 1618, 2618, 3618. All right. It does not necessarily mean that the price will go to those levels, but what it means for me is 176.42, where the 618 is the biggest resistance level, and this is right, easy to see now. There's resistance there, resistance there, resistance there. Right, price struggles to get through this area, so this zone makes for a tough place to get out of. But when price typically breaks through that, it's usually a clear shot to first 3 ATR, which would be 189.51, and then to the 1618, which is up here at 195.21. So because these areas 189 and 195 are above this 180 or this 185 strike, I'm happy to go a little bit more out the money. So I'm gonna use these 180 calls, and this is where I like to put the options I'm interested in. Okay, so we got boot there. This is a 50-cent spread, which is not horrible. What that means essentially is that you will lose $50 getting into and out of this position. Okay, so you see the midpoint of 390 and 440 is 415, which is basically $25 above the bid and $25 below the ask. So because it's a 50-cent spread, you can get in at the middle, right? $25. That's to get in, but when you get out, it's going to be the same bid and ask typically, right? So 50 cents, which means another $25 for the middle. All right. So for this trade, assuming, right, this is just me assuming that the price of boot opens up exactly where it is on Monday. Okay, this is the risk reward ratio. So entry price, right? Stock close. Let's see, what was today's close? Yeah, 166.06. Okay. Profit level. My first profit level is going to be always the previous resistance, that 176. And my second profit level is going to be between 3 ATR and that 1618. So 189 to 195. Okay. If I buy multiple contracts, then I will sell them at these levels. I will sell the first one at the 1618, the second one, near 3 ATR or the 1618, depending on how price action is looking. And then the third one, either at the 2618 or 3618. When I say depending on how price action is looking, it is because if the price hits here and then it starts to kind of stay in this zone and go sideways, I'm okay with that. Right? If the price hits and then dips, or hits like that and dips, or hits like this and then dips, it's not something you can predict. And you just kind of want to be mindful of that. Again, these are day candles, so intraday you'll see that the price is kind of reversing and coming back down. There's a little bit of art to it, right? You're gonna have to decide if you want to take profits or what, but the idea is to know where you want to go with this, generally speaking. So stop loss is going to be 163. And for take profit, I'm going to put in the 3 ATR level for now. 189.51. Okay. So this is a 766 risk reward ratio, meaning you're risking $1 to make $7.66. It's a great risk reward ratio. If I pull it up to the 1618, it's a 1 to 9 risk reward ratio, risking $1 to make 9. And if I drop it to the 618 level, that 176.42, it's still a 1 to 3 risk reward ratio. Okay, so this setup, regardless of which target you go for, is a great risk reward ratio. Okay, risking $1 to make 3, risking $1 to make 7, or risking $1 to make 9 or more. Right, if this thing keeps pumping up, the risk reward ratio just gets better. Again, this is the first target here because it's previous resistance, risking $1 to make 3. I like to aim to get out of positions at 3 ATR, so I'm going to leave that there. All right, so we have our risk, all right? To make 7. The contract is going to be the 9, 19, 180 calls at 420 or better. Okay, so we have our stop loss, we have our entry level, or the buy zone. Okay, so we have our buy zone, we got our stop loss, we got our risk, we know which contract we want. That is essentially how I set up my trades. All right, real quick, trading is all about probabilities. It's about skewing the probabilities to suit you best and then taking your shot. The analogy that I like to use, or that I used to use, was that trading is like a game of basketball. Right? You don't know if you're going to make your shot, but if you're double covered, chances are you have a higher probability of missing. If you're wide open, chances are you have a higher probability of making the shot. And so what you want to do in trading is basically get wide open and take your shot. Okay? So risking 1 to make 7 for me, that's amazing. This is boot. Let us move on to the missed opportunity that I wanted to talk about on MP. So this was a chart that I set up last week on MP in my last stock watch list video. This was the chart essentially looked something like this when I found it. It is just a beautiful pattern, right? Again, price going from the bottom left to the top right. Price was in the buy zone, and the chart was squeezing. Okay, this is how this played out. It was truly magnificent. I loved the pattern, and I had a very high feeling that this was going to happen, and this is exactly what happened. So I missed this trade opportunity. This candle here is Monday. Let's see if I can't highlight this somehow. Here it is. That candle. Okay, so that was Monday. And as you can see, let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. Let me close this. Okay. The price on Monday did not quite touch the buy zone. Okay. I wanted to get in under 63, and the low was actually 62.90. Okay. And so it came into my buy zone. Let me zoom in so you all can see what's going on here. Here we go. Okay. So at the open, first 10 minutes, this thing dipped under 62.90 and then popped up towards 65, making a high of 65.18. When I actually saw the chart, it was already up here around like $64. And so I moved on to whatever else I was doing on Monday. The price ended up coming back down, right, and making a low again of 63, which was the very top of my buy zone. All right. And so really what I want to go over is just, you know, being disciplined is important, right? You want to be disciplined and not jump the gun entering positions. However, you can miss out on a great opportunity being super duper precise, right? The price was right. The price was right in my buy zone, essentially, right? And so, I wasn't able to take advantage of this trade. But what happened was that MP went on to make a 270% gain from this entry that I missed. So I set the chart up like I would any other chart, right? This was the high I used, and I believe that was the low, 59.20. Yeah, it's the same low. That was the low I used. And as you see, price went to not just the first target, but also went to the second target. The contracts I was looking at were these 60 calls over here. So today, these 60 calls were at $14 and 60 cents, $14 and flat. That would put the mark at 14.30, right? And so let me just show you guys. There we go. See, 14.30. It's just the midpoint, essentially. That's what the mark is. Okay? So from, I believe the price was about $5.30 or so when I was looking at the chart. And now the price is at 14.30. So I missed these incredible gains, right? The stock itself only moved, $15, which is huge, right? It's a 24% gain for the stock in 4 days. But the option, moved 270%. And so, basically my point is don't be so anal. Don't be so caught up on, 20 cents or 30 cents in terms of price getting into the buy zone. Because, there's a saying, it's like, what is the saying? I don't want to jack it up. I might jack it up, but it's basically like, don't step over dollars to pick up pennies or quarters or something like that. And essentially it's like, don't be such a stickler for this not maybe getting exactly in the buy zone, right? Because then you can miss out on all these gains. So I just want to go over that so that you guys keep in mind, there's some art to this. Yes, it might go exactly in the buy zone, but if it gets pretty close, it's close enough. All right, you don't want to miss out on 270% gains in 4 days. But this was a lovely pattern. This was a lovely chart setup. I don't want to say I knew this was going to happen, because in trading anything can happen, but I had a high feeling, high probability, I was very excited to get into this trade. Anyways, I missed it and the money went. And so that's that. Just want to go over that. It's important to follow your rules, of course. And you always want to be as rigid as you can in your rules. But again, there's nuance, there's art. And you want to stay flexible, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Trading in the Trenches. I hope you found today's insight valuable, and you guys are excited about the upcoming week like I am. Bear in mind, keep in mind the news, okay? And again, I want to extend my challenge, my Reddit challenge. I don't think I actually showed you guys the post. To YouTube, to you guys, my subscribers. If you guys have a chart or a ticker that you're interested in, I'd be happy to do my own analysis on it. You choose the ticker, I find the setup, right? Essentially, I want to take at least 10 trades out of my last 32 trades here that I'm going to post on Reddit. Going over tickers that you all have in mind to trade. So F4 Flyer, he was the motivation for me looking at those initial charts on the watch list that I had. None of them met my criteria for a setup, but that's okay. Your input is crucial, guys, so don't hesitate to share your thoughts or your ideas in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe, hit that alert button. I'm happy to help give you guys trading tips and my analysis on the market. Until next time, keep strategizing and stay committed to your trading journey, guys. Happy trading, everybody.